Question: should rich people be allowed to have the same incentives to buy electric cars as everybody else? And I know there are different opinions about it, but one of the opinions this week was given to us by the state of California, and I gotta tell you, it's a bit disappointed, especially, and I'll tell you about some other rule changes in a second, especially what they're doing with the rebates moving forward. And these rules are taking effect not like in 2025 or next year. We're talking about December 3rd. That's right. California is changing EV incentives December 3rd, and I gotta. This is something I would have expected maybe from the state of Texas but California. Ugh. And the reason why this might be a problem, a bigger problem than we may think. The reason I'm talking about California, not just because I live here and kind of love it, but because California accounts for about half of electric car sales in the United States for the last few years. The last year in 2018, the full calendar year, 46.8% of all electric car sales were done in California. So, and as you know, incentives is kind of a big deal. And if they're going away, if they're changing and the sales fall, this not be very pretty for just the overall electric car revolution. And so let me start with some of the things that California is just about to change for, specifically based on whether or not you're rich or poor. And by the way, that is a very a philosophical question: who's rich and who's poor? For example, making $150,000 a year to everybody else around the country sounds like a lot of money, right? Unless you're maybe in New York or whatever. But in California, specifically in Silicon Valley, where a lot of Teslas are sold, it is literally like almost minimum wage. Don't forget, the 2-bedroom apartments go for $4,000 or $5,000 a month nowadays, and the pricing is just crazy, absolutely crazy. So the understanding what rich or well off is very skewed. So I just want you guys to know. Now, that brings me to a couple of things that are changing, and one of the things is that California is doing, they're putting a $60,000 MSRP cap. So if you're buying a car that's more than that, you're not going to get a rebate. By the way, California rebates, the state rebates, are very different from federal tax incentives, and we're going to talk about it in just one second. But this essentially is excluding Model S, Model X, and some of the higher end Model 3 cars, and obviously Audi e-tron and upcoming Mercedes EQC and Jaguar I-Pace and so forth. You know, the cars that really need to start selling. They're not selling very well, and so this is not going to help. Now, another thing that California already had, which was disappointing, is the cap on the salary. They cap at about $150,000 per single person. I think it's $204,000 for a head of household and $300,000 for a joint, so I guess 2 family income. So but it averages up to about $150,000 income cap. But you know what, if you are part of the IT industry in Silicon Valley, or you're going to be making more, and it's basically means that you're not going to be qualified, and I think that's a shame. But of course, you guys have your own opinion, so please have at it in the comment section. Let's have a conversation. It is kind of a philosophical question. Now, on the opposite side of that, the low-income families and singles will have an additional $2,000 of the incentive. So right now, it was $2,500, and California is actually lowering everything. Just that's another disappointing thing that I wanted to talk to you about, is that California is lowering all of the incentives by $400, except for one. I'll tell you about it later. You're gonna be pissed. But so now it's $3,000 for qualified buyers, but another $2,000 on top of that if you're considered to be a low-income family. So obviously now people are asking, well, Alex, but isn't this socialism? If we're taking money from some people and then with more money and giving it to other people, it's redistribution of wealth at its finest. And I'm from Russia, so I know a little bit about socialism. Yeah. Okay. So now let's not confuse two things, because when people say that about the federal income tax incentives, that's definitely BS, because it is not taking money from one person and giving it to another, because it is essentially your money that you were going to pay in taxes that's being reduced. Just like if you own a house, just like if you have children, right? You just get to pay a little bit less, but it's your money that's kind of going back to your pocket. It's not someone else's money. But with state refunds, California included, that is taking the taxpayer money and giving it to other people. And so the question is, should all those other people be sort of discriminated against if they make more money than average or considered to be rich, and be given more money if they don't make as much and are lower income? Here's what I know. I know that nobody would be getting free iPhones right now like they can at any cell phone store if rich people wouldn't be buying iPhones for $600 cash when they just came out, right? So there's something to be said about first adopters of any technology that obviously have to pay some significant money and have to be rich in order for everybody else to have it. Now, let me tell you about some other things that are disappointing, how California is handling this moving forward. I don't know why they're doing it all of a sudden. I always thought about our state as, pro green energy, but I know we're also pro, low income families. So this is an interesting balance. But before I do that, let me remind you that this video and this channel is sponsored by Climate Exchange. Tesla lottery is back. If you win, if you are the winner, you will get pretty much any Tesla you want, up to $195,000 configuration. Buy your tickets in the description of this video. And even if you don't win, you'll still be donating for a great environmental protection organization. You can read up on them at the carbonraffle.org is where you can enter it. And only 4,000 tickets will be sold. So I think chances are pretty good. All right. So another thing that California is changing is that now you will only be able to get one rebate, I believe, per family, per person, and per business entity. Definitely per person. It's kind of a weirdly written, so I can only say definitely per person. Now there was already capped at 2, so I wasn't able to receive my Chevy Volt rebate at all. So I wasn't that crazy about it. I thought that, hey, listen, if you're buying an electric car, you should get the rebate just like everybody else. But anyway, it's going down to 1. Now, here's one good thing that I found is for the plug-in hybrids. The range goes up. Now, instead of 20 miles, it used to have 35 miles of electric range, and only then the plug-in hybrid is qualified. So yes, that's a good thing. But one type of a vehicle, of electric vehicle, that really has not changed any rebates that apply to it is the fuel cell vehicle. And I don't understand why California is so in love with it. I believe Mirai and what is it, Honda, I forget the name of it, are the only cars that even have their fuel cell cars. I'm baffled. I literally, guys, I really don't know what to say. This is kind of disappointing. We'll see what effect it's actually going to make on sales. It looks like Tesla has not been at all suffering from bad sales, even though the federal tax incentives here in the United States have gone down to almost nothing, and it's actually going to be nothing starting January 1st. So that's good news. That looks like at least Teslas are good to go. But other companies that were supposed to be helped by this, Audi and Mercedes and so forth with their electric cars, you're probably going to suffer from this a little bit more than otherwise they would. And I'm not saying Audi and Mercedes needs some help, but they do need encouragement, saying if we make a good electric car, which e-tron is and EQC is, they will sell. Right? They do need that feedback, and I think it's going to be much tougher. Let me know what you think in the comment section. By the way, if you want to follow me around when I travel and do stories on location and just a lot of other cool stuff that happens behind the scenes, follow me on Instagram at E4Electric, and also don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter, which you get for free every Saturday, a bonus story. Bonus is always good, I think, especially when it's free. So you can sign up, and the link is in the description of this video. And much like quite a few things in the description of this video, this one is free as well. All right, looking forward to your comments. Don't fight. Other than that, see you next time, and remember to stay charged.